Hi Gemini, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your December 29th, 2020 full moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be linked and located in the description box below. Now before I begin this reading, let's clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all the negativity from your body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bulls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Gemini. How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Let me move these down just a bit for you. Okay, fantastic. So much better. Okay, so let's see what your chakra energy is for this time. How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Fantastic. Okay. So we have psychic development, the third eye chakra, very intuitive during this time, which makes perfect sense. The full moon is in Cancer. So this is a time where, of course, we're coming full circle with this year. We started the year with the full moon in Cancer. We're ending the year with the full moon in Cancer. I feel like that is such an absolutely beautiful, beautiful thing, especially for this year that has been so tremendously trying, to say the least. Like, it's been so difficult and so heartbreaking. So to have this synchronicity come, it is beautiful. Spirit is showing me it as something really beautiful, kind of, it's ending a chapter. It's ending a chapter in kind of a foreshadowing, or in a homage to the beginning of the chapter. So here it's like, okay, I can see myself moving forward. And the psychic development, the third eye opening up, is absolutely beautiful. And then you have listening. And Gemini, I myself am a Gemini, we're really good at talking. And I always thought of the throat chakra as talking and communicating, but it's also listening. And that is a skill that is lost. And Gemini, if you can be a listener and a seeker, oh my goodness, can you change the world? You really can. And then we have the inner child with the heart chakra. It is time to love ourselves. It really is. It is time to love ourselves. It's time to look at the baggage that we've been carrying around since we were little and really open up our arms to the child that we once were. The left-hand side here is your inner self. The middle is your heart, your emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So we start with the Queen of Fire, fire sign energy, the Queen of Wands, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. The Page of Swords. This is you coming through as a student. You have the Three of Cups. So this is looking at the heartbreaks, the pains, the disappointments that have steadied your heart, okay? It's not only steadied your heart, but at times have hardened your heart. They made it so that it's harder to trust people than it once was. And then you have the Four of Fire, because you have the Four of Wands, and this is a stepping into your own. This is a surrounding of your prosperity and your bounty and your understanding and your brilliance and your truth, and a sense of coming home. And what you're doing here is, well, I'll get into that in a moment. So let's see. With your heart, we have the Tower. That makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. The Ten of Wands, the Moon, which is greatly connecting you with this moon, and also with Pisces energy, February 19th to March 20th. And then you have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy, June 21st to July 22nd. If you are a cusp baby with Cancer, this is going to be very impactful. The way that you move forward, the way that you're letting your heart shine through, you're really releasing a lot of the fears, a lot of the anger, a lot of the negativity that has held you back in the past. And that is something that's going to be very, very good. It is going to be very good. The Four of Cups. Divinity is handing you a gift that will be hard to see at times, most definitely, but you're coming through as the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Swords. So you have the Queen of Wands here, the Queen of Swords. You're stepping into your power. This is going to be a time where you don't really want to be as seen as other times. Like sometimes you come forward and you're like, okay, I'm going to be the actor upon the stage. And other times this is quiet, this is personal, and you're going to be the director behind the scenes. So that's exactly what you're embracing here. The Three of Wands, the world is opening up to you. And you're going to see that divinity is guiding you to look at something that you were once really afraid of, that once really caused you anxiety. And so here then you have the Ace of Swords. So you are taking this gift not only in the realm of a student, but also in the realm of a kind of master craftsman sort of way. It's kind of like, I know who I am. I know what I desire, because I'm unburdening myself with the weight that has stopped me, that has silenced my voice, that has kept me from moving forward. It's like I'm releasing all the burdens that I've carried. It's kind of like you're decluttering. You're decluttering your soul and yourself and what it is that you desire from your life. And it really does move you so beautifully into this chakra understanding. And it's so interesting because, okay, so it really does align really beautifully with the sense of, in the public arena, we have the psychic development coming forward. And I was looking at it, I was like, well, I just put these down randomly, but I tend to like things to be a little bit orderly, right? And so here, the psychic development over the public arena, that's going to be something that you kind of have to take a leap of faith on. It's trusting your intuition. It's saying, well, I do matter, and I do have instincts to things, and I don't need to just follow what everybody else says or what everybody else does. There's a different way that I'm approaching my life and myself and my soul and my understanding. And the hard thing is that you've been hurt, okay? And, I love it when people say, just jump, just jump, just go for it. I was watching this thing about actors speaking, and they were talking about their career, like, did you have a backup plan? And these really famous actors were saying, no, I knew if I had a backup plan, I'd cowered out. And that's great if you wind up making it. But if you don't wind up making it, it's kind of like, well, I didn't have a backup plan because I didn't want to be a coward. And then I fell flat on my face, and it was like, what the heck am I doing? So here, it's looking at things, and that's kind of an extreme, right? But we fall flat on our faces all the time. And the psychic development is saying, well, I know I'm supposed to be in this arena. I know I'm supposed to be moving forward this way. Why is what I'm seeing within my heart, within my soul, not what I'm able to achieve now? You can be seeing into the future. It might not be that you become, Cary Grant or anything like that, but it can be that you embrace your own realm of greatness. And in your mind, the way that you can compute it right now is looking at this power, at this beauty, and saying, oh, well, that's going to be me, that type of knowing. And so here, it's looking at things, and it's saying, be mighty. Be mighty in what you see. Be mighty in what you visualize for yourself. Be mighty in the fact that your dreams are being shown to you. But they might very well be in a different way than you expected. So you might be looking at things one way, and the psychic development is saying, well, I know this is going to work out, but you're seeing 10, 20 years in the future, and right now is the time where you're building that foundation, is the time where things have been hard. And this can be for 16 years. You could have been building towards this dream, and you're looking at it now and saying, well, I don't know how this is going to happen. I just know that it is. And that's the type of faith that you need to have in yourself. That's the type of beauty that needs to be a part of you. And that is going to be something that is very powerful for you. And with your heart here, and it's very interesting that we didn't have your heart, Spirit didn't put your heart over your inner child, but it's to listen. It's to listen to the world around you. It's to listen to yourself, to your heart, to your emotions. Because so often, Gemini, you dive so deep. And that's why you're represented by the Lovers, right? You dive so deep. And the main fallback is, well, just everybody has to love me. That's all I need. That's such a tall order. Because everyone won't. And then it's such disappointment. And so here when you're listening, it's kind of like listening to what your soul really wants, listening to who it is that you truly are, listening to the words that people say and the way that people act. And, it's kind of like that Maya Angelou quote where if they show you who they really are, trust them, like believe them. And it's looking at things and it's saying, oh, I see a deeper truth here. Because instead of being part of the world that just says, oh, look at me, look at me, look at me, and talks all the time, it's that listening, it's that centering, it's that quiet peace that we tend to completely devalue in our world, but which is actually what everybody is searching for. And then we have here the inner child and your inner self. And that's going to be and that's why you come through. Oh, that's why that's so cool. Okay, so you come through here as the page, right? And the page can also represent children. So this is you as a child. So your inner child is coming through with your heart. And the thing that needs to be done, and it's kind of a tall order to do, is to visualize yourself with your arms held out and the child that you once were running into those arms. And just saying to that child, you're safe. I love you. I will always listen to you. I will always believe you. I always have your back. And if you need to pause and just do that for a moment, because this moon brings up all the emotions. It doesn't leave any rock unturned. And so here, to have that connection with your heart, to have that connection with who you once were. Because so often we take our past, and it's kind of like our shadow. We try to outrun our shadow. We try to outrun our past, but it's always right behind us. And so instead of outrunning it, it's love the person that you are. Even if, there are things that you say, oh, I wish that never happened, or I can't believe that. But it's loving who you are. Because you are a powerful, gracious, gorgeous person. And that's what you are embracing. That's what you are embodying as an adult, but also as that inner child gets to flourish within you, as that joy gets to come forward. Instead of thinking, wow, it was just a mistake, or, oh my gosh, I can't do anything right, or there is not an ounce of talent within me. Everybody else has it. It's like, oh no. If you speak that over you, it stunts you. You become... It's not even like a bonsai tree, because a bonsai tree gets stunted, but it's also a work of art that gets planned over years upon years upon years. It just becomes stunted and gnarled. And so it's like It's like a plant that is barely hanging on this edge of a cliff. You never know when the wind's going to blow just the right way, and you're going to fall into the abyss. Because the hurt is so great that the roots of yourself are shallow. And it's like, no more, no more. I get to embrace fully, honestly, and openly who it is that I am. And that's what this full moon really calls us to do. It's a surrendering to the divine in the most powerful way. The moon is in its element when it's in Cancer, because the moon, of course, represents Cancer. So we have the moon here shining forward, and we have Cancer right below it, which, Spirit just pointed out to me. And that's gorgeous right here. So you really are releasing so much that has held you back. And this really is a cathartic, beautiful moon. And what you're going to find is that as you surrender, because you know there's something more, as you surrender to the power that is a part of you, you see personal issues reach a resolution. You see that you start to puzzle things out. You start to see things more openly and more honestly. This connects you to the sacred feminine, and it brings you to a deep connection to your emotional well-being, which is why your inner child is coming through so strongly. It brings you to a nurturing of yourself and your soul, but also your family, the family that you've created, the family that you were born into, the family that you surround yourself with. And as you do this, you're going to start to feel more at home within your skin, because you are embracing the essence of this moon, but also this moon is at home within this sign. And so there's going to be things that happen here where it's like you are feeling more at home, more in tune with yourself. And the thing is that everybody around you is feeling more at home and more in tune with themselves. Now, this can bring a level of peace to those who are following a path to peace. But for those with lower, baser vibrations, you might find it really hard to be around these people. Or if during this time you're going through a struggling period, you might find that your vibrational energy is low. And this could be a time where the sorrow comes up, where the doubt comes up, where anxiety can run really, really high, because you know you're not supposed to be there anymore. You know that that's not right for you. And so if you meditate, if you listen to the singing bowl at the beginning of the reading or at the end of the reading, and just kind of put that on loop, or find a singing bowl or find a vibrational kind of energy healing to do during this time, you might really see that helps you. Epsom salt baths also to clear away negative energy, but also starting to really speak positivity over you, because the mind does not know the difference between make-believe and reality, which is awesome and also super scary. So here, as you are absorbing and acquiring the information that you need, you're also looking at yourself more openly and more honestly and more rawly than you have before. And it can be disconcerting. It really can be disconcerting. And you are finding that as you become, that yes, you are becoming more introspective, but you are also going to be reacting. You're also going to find it easier to react to other people than to react to yourself. So you're going to sit there and think, well, I don't have time for this. Like, this is a lot of baggage, or, oh, I'm just being silly. And that's kind of how you'll write it off. Like, oh, I'm just being silly. I should be over this. I can't even believe me. And so you'll be like, oh, poo-poo it. Instead of saying, no, this is powerful, and I need to address this, and I need to look at me and not at everybody else. And that's going to be a powerful shift for you, Gemini. And it's also, I need to look at what I think of me, not what everybody else thinks of me, because it doesn't matter. And then you're going to see that as your emotions run high, you become aware of what you're feeling and how you need to move yourself forward, and what it is that you're craving during this time. And then you're going to find, you're going to find that you become more in harmony, and that the emotions can't be buried. It just can't be shoved under the rug. So also, again, be aware of being very nostalgic, of, looking back at things and thinking, oh, it was better when, or, oh, I couldn't possibly replicate when. And it can make you melancholy. But if you look at things and say, no, I'm really developing well, and this is maybe not the place that I want to stay within my life, not the chapter I want to be in all the time, or the scene that I want to be in all the time, but it is the place that I need to be in now in order to springboard me forward. It is a wealth of emotional understanding. And then you move to the new moon in Capricorn, which is it feels almost very opposite to the full moon in Cancer, because as you move to the new moon in Capricorn, you're going to be thinking, well, my hard work pays off. Like, you're going to be thinking, how can I take what I need and have it come into the real world and have it move me forward? And how can I be successful and powerful and prosperous in a very succinct, tactile way, the way that I can feel, the way that I can see in this world. And so you move from the kind of abstract of the emotional self, of the heart self, to the very true, very finite, very, very real sense of this Capricorn energy, this sense of my hard work pays off. I need to see results. And this moves you to a place of new beginnings, because you're going to need to find that balance. You're going to need to find that harmonizing synchronicity to what you feel and what you're developing and where you're headed and why. And so here, a new start is coming, because there is a sense of kind of stepping back, needing to meditate, needing to breathe, needing to connect. And it doesn't mean that you need to make time, because sometimes you don't have any time and you're sitting there and you have everything to do. So when you're doing the dishes at the end of the day, like, when you're loading the dishwasher or washing the dishes, take that time to be mindful of your heartbeat, of yourself. Even if you're just like dog tired, it's like, okay, how am I still moving forward? What did I do that was good today? And if you can only come up with one thing, just keep on repeating that one thing. Let yourself be embraced by your grace, because it's moving you to a new beginning. It's moving you to a new place that you're like, oh wow, I didn't think that my hard work, my dedication, I was going to get me to here. And it's going to be surprising, and it leads you to Leo. It says, don't let pride get in the way. Don't let yourself think like, oh, it has to be like this. I have to move forward this way, or I have to succeed this way. If not, everybody will laugh. Who cares what everybody else thinks? If you're able to uphold your end of the bargain of this life, then keep on going forward. Keep on going forward. This is your life. You get this one chance that you remember really well during this life to move forward and to be you. So if you're looking at something, if you're thinking of doing something and you think, oh wow, everybody's going to laugh at me, or oh wow, I couldn't possibly, because nobody thinks of that as success, or nobody will understand. It's like, don't let pride be your downfall. Don't let pride be what ruins you. Just sit there and say, I can do this, and I jump. And it's not that you jump and not have a backup plan. It's like, I jump forward in grace of self, in a sense of, if I don't believe in me, who the heck will? And it's not being prideful. It's saying, if not now, then when? If not me, then who? And it leads you to the spirit animals of this time, the owl spirit and the horse spirit. And what's so cool is the sacred feminine is absolutely connected with the full moon in Cancer. Well, in December, and I know we only have a few days of December, corresponding and blessing this moon, but you have the horse spirit coming through very powerfully. And the horse spirit says freedom is yours, but it also connects you with the sacred masculine energy. And also sexual energy becomes very strong. So you have the sacred feminine, you have the sacred masculine. They're coming together and they're really building up the power within you. They're really building you towards something more. They become your driving force during this time. And you're looking at what you thrive on in this life. And it doesn't mean that everybody else has to understand. You're looking at what your heart, what your creativity, what your soul thrives on. And it can be peace, it can be harmony, it can be love, it can be respect, it can be, a million things that people overlook and say, well, that's not worth anything. But it's worth everything. And so here, you're bringing that balance to the forefront. And what you're doing is you're also balancing the wild and the tame side of you, to say, how do I get to be free in all aspects of my life, in all ways that I'm moving forward? And it doesn't mean that you don't have responsibilities. It means that you're honoring yourself as you move towards your goals. Now, what's really cool is in December and in January, the spirit animal for both of these is the owl. So you have high intuition coming in. You see what others can't, because you're looking beyond the masks, beyond the deceits of others, beyond what they want to show you. And you're looking at what's really there. And that's really bringing forward and announcing a change in your life, because you're not believing everybody's masquerade. When I was younger and not too long ago, I used to believe what everybody showed me. I was like, okay, if you show me this is you, then this is you. But remember, I don't know if you know this quote by Confucius. It is not what a man says, it's what a man does. And that's because he had this one student who in class, he answered all the questions correctly. He was absolutely the ideal student. And he had this other student who was always very, very quiet, very intense. And he thought, oh, wow, you're not doing so well. And then one day he walked through the dormitories and Confucius saw the kid who always had the right answers, acting in complete opposite to his teachings. And he saw the kid who, well, these were young men. He saw the young man who never really said anything, who never really did much, acting in a complete accordance to his teachings. And he's like, okay, so here I've just learned a valuable lesson. You can't judge a book by its cover. And that's what you're seeing here. You're seeing that when you take people at face value, it's kind of like, show me. That's going to be a really big part of you during this time here, Gemini. It's like, show me. Because this is your time to face the shadows. This is your time to look deeper to what once gave you pause. And this is calling wisdom from the silence. This is calling you forward in a very reverent, very connected way. And it's time to hold on to your truth. And you're no longer dealing in lies. You're like, I don't have time for this nonsense. I'm embracing a spiritual path towards life. I'm embracing my spiritual truth. And it brings you to the bear spirit, which is also another spirit animal of January. It says, take time out. Because the owl spirit says, you see clearly now. Because you do. Because you're holding up everybody's truths, okay, what everybody says. And you're seeing that most of them are a handful of lies. It's like a mouthful of ash. And what you're going to see here is with the bear spirit, you're grounding yourself in strength and you are challenging your confidence. You're sitting there and saying, well, how can I push myself further? And what do I really believe? And how do I move forward? And is this out of pride or is this out of, necessity of self? Am I sitting there, not necessarily necessity of self, but am I sitting there and saying, I want to be this so that everybody looks at me and is jealous? Or I want to be this because it's the calling of my soul. And so maybe I dial it down and maybe nobody will know that I do this. It's kind of like Emily Dickinson, right? She died with her poems in a drawer, and they discovered them later on. So it might not be that people see it now. It might be that people see it later. It doesn't have to be, of course, after you pass. It can be very much so when the divine timing is right. And you start working on it now. You start building it. You start building it within your mind. You start finding the rhythm of it within your soul. And this brings you to embracing the symbol of healing that the bear is, through solitude, through meditation, through rest, through contemplation. And you look at the seeds that you've planted over your heart. You're looking at the way that you need to move forward, soul, spirit, and self, because a fire burns within you. Now, the Queen of Wands connects you with the full moon in Leo, which is fire sign energy. And the Queen of Wands, of course, represents fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And this is a sense of determination. This is a sense of fire and passion. And what's so interesting is that you, as the Page of Swords, is looking up at the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is connecting with her heart chakra. You're connecting with what you love, with your inner child, with your soul, with your passion, with yourself. And you're doing so in a way that you're like, wow, I forgot this. I forgot this aspect of me. I forgot this power of me. I forgot that this was a dream that I had, or that this was a way that I wanted to move forward, or this is the grace of my voice and the power of my soul. And it can be also that you're coming to terms with things. You've been doing the work. You've been putting in the time and the effort and the connecting with the aspects of yourself, especially when it comes to the negativity that was spoken over you. When you were small, when you were vulnerable, when you gave your heart to somebody completely and they just destroyed it, and you're looking at it and you're like, wow, that hurts. And there's still the voice that you hear. It could be still a parent's voice, a teacher's voice, a sibling's voice, a grandparent's voice, a lover's voice that you hear in your head when things are going wrong, and they're like, well, I told you couldn't make it. I told you there was nothing good about you. And now you're looking like just so longingly at the passion that you need and the way that you want to move forward and what it is that you desire and what it is that you want. And you're saying, I can't do this anymore. I can't have this hurt. Excuse me, because it's getting me emotional. I can't have this hurt, this pain, this disappointment be the way that I define myself. I'm done. I need the healing to come in. I need the power of a voice that I feel like I have lost coming forward. And that's what leads you to embracing your passion in a way that you hadn't. It's like you're looking at 2021 and you're saying, this is a game changer for me. This is a year that no matter what happens, like I'm taking the bull by the horns. I'm going after what is right for me. And it doesn't have to be in an overtly dramatic way. It can just be in a way that I'm going to hold my head up high and walk with confidence. And then I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to start, investigating things on YouTube, on, online that just interest me. And I'm going to start filling my head with this knowledge. I'm going to start following these podcasts. I'm going to start gaining this information. And it makes me a student of my mind and my power. And it has me cutting through doubts and fears and seeing different aspects of the story that I hadn't seen before. And it brings me to looking at the pain, at the hurt of the people who were supposed to celebrate me and just couldn't. And I took their hurt, their pain to mean that I was lacking. But it doesn't. It means that they weren't able to. And come on, how sad is that? When you have a little child that's looking up at you and thinks kind of like you walk on water, right? And you can't say a nice thing to them. You can't build them up when you have somebody who loves you. And it's like, I love you. I'm giving you my heart. I'm right there with you. We'll walk through, whatever together. And you can't? And you can't sit there and see what a gift that is? And that I'm talking about a partner here. But it can also be, just whomever, where you're like, I have you. I have your back. It could be a best friend that you're like, I have your back. And they're like, no, you don't. I can't do this right now. And you're looking at it and it's like, can't do what? Like, you can't have a meaningful human relationship? You're looking at this and you're looking at the pain that you've carried because you thought, well, it was me. It wasn't them, it was me. And it's like, no, it was them. We always learn a bit, so it can be a bit of us during the time, but it's looking at things that we carry in our heart. And instead of saying it was all my fault, because that's what Geminis do. It's like you take it and you say, I should have made that better. I should have done more. And when you know that you've done it all, you know that in that moment you gave all that you could, or at least you gave enough. It's like that you didn't have to sacrifice yourself on the altar of this person in order for anything to happen. You need to walk away. You need to sit there in your mind and say, this scene is over. This chapter has ended. This is done. I can't live this time and time again. I can't have your voice coming forward because I'm moving towards my happiness. I'm moving towards a celebration of my life and my decisions and where it is that I want to be. And here's the thing. We think it has an age limit, right? We think that success comes when you're this age, when you do this, when you're like this. And it's like, no. I get to have this success now. I get to have this power now. I get to embrace this beauty. I get to move forward in this way. And that's what you're seeing here with the Four of Wands. You're seeing this beauty. You're seeing this connection. You're seeing this power. And it is moving you forward in a way that's breathtaking, in a way that starts to then open up new career options for you. Because you never thought of like going that direction instead of going maybe the normal direction. It starts to open up new relationships to you because you're now holding yourself differently. You're treating yourself differently, which demands that those around you treat you differently. You start seeing things changing. And it can be even if you're in a committed relationship, you start to change the way you see yourself. It starts to change the way that others see you. And so as you're moving forward in this power, you're looking at that tower time that has so greatly affected your heart, that has so devastated you, because this is divinity saying, I'm taking you out of your comfort zone. And sometimes divinity isn't really nice about it. It is when you've lost everything. It is when you've had everything fall apart. It is when, you're sitting there and you're trying to figure out how to put food on the table, how to keep the lights on, what the heck is going to happen here. When you're working so hard, you fall asleep standing up and you kind of shake yourself awake and you're like, oh my goodness. Here, it's looking at these times and knowing that, yes, you might feel like you have hit rock bottom. And divinity's looking at you and saying, I'm forging your soul. I'm forging you. The way a sword is forged, and Gemini, you are represented by the swords in the major arcana, in the minor arcana, right? The way a sword is forged is that it is stuck in fire. It is heated up till it glows, and then it is hammered, okay? And then it is put in setting solution, I don't know what it's called, and you see what happens. That's what life is. Life is not gentle. It is not kind. It is not supposed to be always enjoyable. It is harsh, brilliant hammering of truth. It's seeing how fine a blade you can be, how fine a mind, how fine a skill you can have within yourself. And it's the skill of commanding your own essence, your own soul, your own being. And as you're doing this, that's what these times are like. That's what these times are for. So it's when you look back and you sit there and say, well, I don't know why I had to be homeless during this. I don't know why I had to, have it be so hard. I don't know why I had to lose all my money. I don't know why I had to have any of this. And you're looking at it. And if you come out the other end, it's like, what did I once hear? It is not the trial you have been through, but it is the way that you come out of the trial that defines you. Because people like to hide behind masks of perfection. Oh my gosh, and they share their hardships only when they are secure that they have left that hardship completely behind. But when you've really been through something terrible, you're never really sure that the other shoe isn't going to drop. You're never really sure that it's gone. And it could always be kind of like a holding your breath, a waiting, a seeing, like, is it going to come back? And know that this is a forging moment. Know that if, as you move forward, you can actually feel that difference within you. You can feel that you've transformed, that you've, lightened your load, that you're looking at things differently, and you're saying, I'm burning away what no longer fits, what no longer is relevant. I'm letting go of the weight that I carried that had me bowed, that had me not able to see myself, my truth, my passion, my fire. And I am putting down what I need to kindle, what I need to blaze my heart, my soul with, instead of carrying it with me and it becoming a burden, but also becoming so sacred that it doesn't get sullied by the real world. Then you find that you have embraced your truth. Then you find that you are coming to terms with things. And it doesn't mean that the fear isn't there. It doesn't mean that you haven't been scarred. It's that divinity is saying, everybody is scarred. But not everybody pulls themselves through. Not everybody doesn't crack before or when they are being set, or doesn't crack under the pressure. And it doesn't even matter if you cracked. It doesn't matter if you cried yourself to sleep every day for, 2 years. What matters is when you've pulled yourself up, when you've stopped, when you see, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to move yourself forward? Where is it that you're going to be? Because I know we like to think of divinity as this kind, caring, loving person that will always take us out of hardships. But sometimes they don't. I mean, sometimes we pray and we pray and we pray, and the bad thing still happens. The heartbreak still comes. The situation, it doesn't change. And if you're sitting there and you're thinking, everything's supposed to happen in good, then why did this happen? You can't explain it. But it is a forging moment for you. It is a time where you have been tested almost to the extent of your abilities, to the extent of yourself. And you're broken just a little bit, put back together to make a stronger, more durable, more compassionate person who sees what once was almost completely out of the realm of even thought. Divinity has pushed you to that level and has reshaped you. And that's here with the moon. You're looking at the fears and the shadows. And, we look at the moon and we think, oh, how beautiful. But we look at the night and we think, oh, I'm going to go inside now where my lights are on and, where I'm nice and safe. Because we're sight hunters. And when we can't see things clearly, and that's also why we want to know what's going to happen, because we want to be able to see. We want to be able to have a path. And here, it's a little bit of faith. It's a little bit of faith, not only in the divine, not only in the universe, not only in your angels and your spirit guides, but it's calling you to have a little bit of faith within yourself. Not that cocky faith, not that, I'm the best thing in the whole entire world type of persona or bravado that really just masks insecurity. It is that power of self. It is that sense of if I can face this fear, if I can look myself in the eye, if I can move forward this way, if I can look at this doubt and I can keep me going, then there is something great out there for me. Then there is true power in me. Then the fear doesn't get to have a stranglehold around me, doesn't get to pull me down. And that's what the moon makes us do. The moon makes us face our fears and also understand and honor our fears, because our fears kept us alive. And in our modern world where we're not, where most of us are not, picking berries to survive, or having to worry about the terrain, or, animal attacks or attacks in and of themselves. Our fight or flight reaction is quite different. If you're afraid of something, if you're afraid of a review that's coming up, or you're afraid of social reaction to what you're doing, there's the fight or flight response doesn't always work. It doesn't save you from the situation. And so here it's looking at this hurt, this pain, this disappointment that echoes through your mind. And it's saying, I see that. And I see the fear of it. I see the fear of repeating a heartbreak, of repeating a devastation, because nobody wants to. I see a fear of not being able to move towards my dreams, towards myself. But I also see that fear teaches. I also see that fear gets to be as big as I allow it to be. And I also see that if I keep putting one foot after another, in front of another, there we go, that's the saying. If I keep walking forward, then I can live in the reflection of the light of the sun. Then I can live in a cooler, gentler understanding of what the chaos of the world is asking me to do. Because I'm not running away. Because I'm looking at the shadows, and instead of seeing monsters, I see trees. I see unknown. I see maybe terrain that I'm not ready at this moment to traverse, but that I'm gaining an understanding of. And maybe you walk that path within your mind first, before you start to walk it in the real world. And then it brings you to the Chariot. This moon brings out of you what you need to move forward in the glory of the day, in the silence of the night, in the power of your soul, in the beauty of yourself, in the determination of who it is that you are and where it is that you want to be. And as you see this, as you embrace this, you find that you are stronger than you thought you were. You find that you are rooted in a strength of heart and a strength of determination that you hadn't realized. And you embrace the tamed, and you embrace the wild, and you see that you need these sides of yourself to be able to call you forward in full accountability and in full power. To not sit there naively and say, oh, well, I could never. Sitting there and saying, oh, I bet I could. I bet I could be pushed far enough that I break. I bet I could be pushed far enough that I lose my humanity. But I refuse. I refuse to let that be my reality. And as I refuse, I embrace me. I embrace my glory. I embrace my fight. I embrace my brilliance. And it leads you to divinity handing you a gift that doesn't look like a gift. It doesn't look like something you would go, oh my gosh, I'm so happy for this. It leads you to a sense of, I'm not sure I want to take this, or what the heck is this? It's kind of like a cup that a little kid would make, when you look at it and you're like, well, that's rather primitive. But it is primitive because it's not the container that matters. It's the content. And that's what you're going to be seeing during this time. The divinity is going to hand you gifts that if you looked and you just kind of judged the book by its cover, you would be like, oh no, I'm good, thanks. But if you take it, you start to be like, oh, this isn't what I expected, or oh, this isn't how I thought I would be moving forward, or oh, this is more. This is more than I ever imagined. And it doesn't mean that you go against your instinctual self to say, oh, no, thank you. It means that you look at things, and instead of saying, oh, that was stupid, I can't believe that happened, say, wow, why did that happen? And what did that teach me? And why am I moving forward this way? And kind of turning everything to an introspective moment, which sounds insane to do. It really does. But you're going to see in the public arena that all of a sudden you start really listening to the heart of, and that's where the listening chakra comes in, the third chakra. There we go. And you start to pull out the gems. You start to pull out the greater understandings. So where other people walk away from things and say, well, I learned nothing there. Gemini, you are pulling things left and right that become invaluable to you, that sit there and they change your world. And it brings you to you being a queen, because that's what a ruler does. A ruler doesn't simply, follow everything that has been done before and sit there and say, well, this is the way it's always been, this is the way it's always will be, and that's just that. Because that leads to stagnation and not to growth. You're looking at things and you're constantly pushing yourself. You're constantly, embracing this wisdom and this clear sight and this cutting through the malarkey of others and the deceit and the masks and embracing the transformation and seeing the lies and saying, no, I'm not walking in the shadows of lies anymore. I'm walking in the power of my truth. And you know that you hold a weapon in your hand. Because especially air sign energy, it's like the mind is your weapon. The power, it's kind of like sheath your tongue kind of thing. It's like the tongue can become a weapon. You can speak such truth that it just cuts people at the knees. You can also speak such blessings that it lifts up a whole entire room. And so that depends on who you're dealing with, where you are, what you want. But here, there is power. Here, there is power, and you're seeing that. And you're embracing that, and you're looking at things differently. You're looking at your dreams differently. You're looking at yourself differently. And you're like, oh, I get to stand in my element of truth. And I get my truth to be my greatest power. And it brings you then to new horizons as you move forward. It brings you then to being able to look at things and be like, oh, this is my ship coming in. And again, it might not look like it, but it's like, this is my new horizon. This is my way forward. This is a new way of looking at it, a new way of embracing it. And it's a gift in the public arena. It's a gift from divinity saying, I knew that you could fly. I knew that you could do it. I knew that you could take this sword and master it and hone it in your skills and in your understanding and in your student self, and release the burdens that have weighed you down, like Atlas, who was punished by the Olympians. He was a Titan who was punished by the Olympians to have to carry the world on his shoulders. It wasn't that they said, oh, here, guard the world. They said, here, be weighed down by it. You can't be everything to everyone. And you will fail if you try. You have to be the best person that you can be to yourself. Not in that selfish way, not in that egotistical way, but in that way that if my cup is empty, or if the pitcher is empty, and I'm still trying to pour water to everyone, or I'm still pouring water, I'm still giving it all that I have within me, right? And I'm still filling up everybody else's glasses, but I'm never replenishing my truth, my soul, myself, then there will be nothing left. And you will walk around on autopilot, feeling hurt and sad and overwhelmed. And the Ace of Swords is like, here's your truth. Let it be your guiding light as a student of how you want to move forward and the passion that you are letting in. Let it be your weapon, your defense, as you stand in the might of yourself, as you cut through the fears and the negativities that have stood with you for too long. As you claim your throne and you claim your voice and you embrace your element and you see behind the deceits and the defeats. So let's see what the moon has to say. How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels. How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Gemini be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Okay. So we have the void. Will and resilience. Trust. Focus. It's time to release negativity. Believe in the impossible. Don't let your past hold you back. Luck is on your side. I love this. I love this. So here, as you embrace the passion, the power, the brilliance that is you, the fire that drives you forward, as you become a student of that fire, of that determination, you embrace the void. You embrace that maybe you don't know as much as you thought you did. Maybe, things can seem overwhelming, but also the silence of the creative truth within you. not the endless chatter of this world, but the silence. And as you do so, you see the power of your will as you look at the negativity that was spoken over you, as you look at the curses that people placed on you. It's like, oh, you'll never be enough, or you're not talented. Things like that people say in passing. They might not even remember that they said it, but it's like, that changes your path. I remember in third grade, I had an art teacher, third, fourth grade, and I always wanted to study art. I always wanted to do art. And she told me I was absolute rubbish at it. So I was like, oh, okay, scratch that off the list. And it was just one passing statement by an art teacher that I don't even remember her name. The only thing I remember about her is that she wore sandals all the time, even in like the dead of winter. And I lived, in a cold climate. I was like, and that changed everything. It's like, where's your will forward? And why is that will being affected by others? And now it's the will to change it. It's the will to claim back the power, to claim back the brilliance, to claim back the truth. And it brings you to a resilience. It's like, I carry my tree of life on my back. I carry my blessings, my truth, my power on my back. At times I'm weighed down by it, but I'm also finding the perfect place to plant my home, to plant the essence of me, the perfect soil, the perfect spot to embrace and to grace and to move myself forward in. And the resilience of saying, I'm not settling. I'm not just simply going to do what everybody else does. I carry this blessing with me, and it becomes my truth. And the weight of it can be overwhelming at times, but it's a burden worth having. And then we have trust. Trust that divinity has a bigger plan. Trust that it wasn't all for a waste. Trust that you are releasing the burdens that you carry, not the blessings, but the burdens. And that you are starting to look at the blessings and let them take root within you. Let them take root within this world. And so you have to have trust. You have to have trust that things will move forward because you are focused. You are focused as your third eye develops. You are focused as you move forward in this moon and in this blessing and in this greater understanding. You are focused and you are transformed. Don't let yourself be drowned by emotions. Let yourself look at them and see the beauty and the value in each emotion, in each moment, but not to be completely consumed by it. It brings you to the time to release negative energy as you move forward in your positive energy, as you move forward in a greater understanding of yourself, as you move forward in focus and determination. Because as you do so, believe in the impossible. Believe in the impossible as divinity hands you gifts and you emerge a queen. Believe in the impossible as you embrace the royalty of yourself and as you embrace the blessings that had been overlooked. And as you do so, you will find that the past has no place in the present. You might start to kind of mold from it, use it a bit, like, we are all our past, and it's kind of like a sculpture. You don't just throw away everything that you're not working on in that moment. But what you're going to find is that living in the past destroys your present, just like living in the future destroys your present. We all have to honor our past, honor our history as an individual, as a human being. We also have to, plan for the future, because if you don't, that's kind of silly, right? But here, as you move forward, it's like you need to move forward in the present. You need to look at the horizon now, not the horizon of, X amount of time ago, not the horizon of the future, but the horizon of now. As you move forward, as you go after what it is that you desire, because you take aim. You take aim as you have this gift coming to you, as you embrace this knowledge, as you embrace this understanding, and you know that luck is on your side. You know that there is beauty and brilliance here. You know that there is a reason. And there's a reason why you are here. There's a reason for your dreams. There's a reason for your fears. There's a reason for everything. And you're discovering it because life is a mystery. It's a mystery that we are slowly and steadily finding the answers to. And it'll still surprise us. Your subconscious Luna message is self-love. The biggest part of being born under the Lover's card is not to love everybody else and not to strive to have everybody love you. It's to love the two aspects of yourself. It's to love the twins within. It's to love the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine and the sacredness of you, and see that power and see that brilliance. And then it brings you to going deeper into the moon's message, of the full moon in Gemini, of the essence of yourself coming forward. The answer you need is coming. Gemini, you always are searching for an answer. Even if you don't know the question, you are searching for an answer. And you'll sit there, sometimes you'll be like, oh my gosh, I found it. Oh my gosh, I see the answer. And it'll get you so excited. The answer is coming. It's self-love. It's within you. It's kind of like when Brahma said, I hide the God's head within man, because that's the only place they won't look for it. The answer is within. And I know that sounds so cliche and it sounds so silly, but once you start to see that there is true and brilliant power within you, even if the world feels like chaos, there's true and brilliant power in the decisions that you make, in the way that you start to move yourself forward, in the fact that people might still be speaking negativity over you. And you're like, well, that's not my truth. That might be your truth, but it sure as heck ain't mine. It starts to change the game. It starts to change you. And then you're like, oh, wow. And again, you start to stand taller. You start to have more confidence coming forward. You start to see that maybe you need help with certain aspects of life and certain aspects of yourself, and be like, oh, okay, I can handle that. I can find somebody to help me with that, or I can journal it out or talk it out, but I can connect and I can grow. And then it brings you to your subconscious chakra message, which is grounding, which is exactly what you're doing, especially with this resilience, with the life tree that you carry on your back, and you're seeing what you're putting your roots into. A tree that doesn't have the wind buffering against it, does not have deep roots, does not have the sustenance of self to grow strong, to grow tall, right? It can grow quickly, but it'll topple over. It's kind of like those people in life that just like everything always worked, and you sit there, especially like in high school, where you sit there and you look at them and you're like, everything works for you, doesn't it? And then they have instances of just like heartbreak and pain and disappointment, and they don't know how to deal with it. They can go off to college or later on down the road, and they just don't know how to deal with it. And so the tree tumbles over, and they have to rebuild from scratch. Here, it's like, okay, I've been through the muck and the mire. You know, even if you are rebuilding, even if your tree did grow, you know, without the deep roots, and now you've replanted, it's like, yeah, I'm in this for the long run. I'm in this for my blessings. I'm in this for my glory. This is the Earth Star Chakra. I'm in it for the Earth to be my guiding star, for, you know, this truth to be my guiding power. And it leads you then to the essence of yourself. Well, yeah, it does. But it also leads you to your subconscious tarot message, which is the 10 of air, the 10 of swords. And the thing with you, Gemini, is that if you look at each year, each heartbreak, each disappointment as a teacher, as a gathering of a greater understanding, you will see yourself move forward. You will see that this is the darkness before the dawn, that this is the understanding, you know, as the power comes in. You will see that there's a reason, and that you hold a wealth of knowledge. Because 10 swords, like in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, this is a person laying on the ground with 10 swords in their back. That's a wealth. That's a wealth of power and of knowledge and of skill, because you had to be trained in a sword. Only nobility, okay, only people of high ranking could wield a sword. And it showed everybody that you are worth something more than just the average person. And that's what you're seeing here. That even through the hardships, the pains, the angers, the upsets, the disappointments, you are worth so much more than you realize. All right, Gemini. I hope this reading has resonated with you. It's been extraordinary to be able to bring this to you from Spirit. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we take aim, as we go after the greatness in life, and not settle for the angers and despairs and heartbreaks that were thrusted upon us, that became our truths when life became hard, or when we were small and things were out of our control. It is time to claim your power, to believe in the impossible, and to let the impossible dream be part of the creative reality of your present. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Gemini. And may you have a blessed moon.